Hello and welcome to the Basics of Stand-Up Comedy video series. Today we're going to be discussing the next step in creating a great joke, the setup. In stand-up comedy, the setup is the introduction to the joke that sets the stage for the punchline. It's the part of the joke that provides context, sets the tone, and creates suspense. The setup is the foundation of the joke, and it's crucial for building tension and establishing a connection with your audience. When writing a setup, you're going to start by taking your premise and then write things that back up your point of view. Write down bullet points if need be. Write down a few different setup options and choose which one that you think will work best. You want to keep your setup simple and straightforward. The goal is to get to the punchline without sidetracking or anything that is unnecessary to the joke.
But no, the biggest thing we used to fight about was driving. And that was before GPS. It would just be my wife who was yelling at me like I didn't know where I was going. Right? Some of us have been there. But now, thankfully, because of GPS, I have two women telling me I don't know where I'm going.
The longer the setup, the bigger and the better the punchline has to be to justify the audience's attention and to warrant their laugh. Get to the punchline.
And they have voice packages you can get for GPS, and I think they should have training ones for single people so they know what it's going to be like when you're married. They could have like the exasperated wife package. That's when you miss a turn and it just goes.
So I'm going to show you a couple of examples of setups and see how they work. Example 1. Dating is weird nowadays. There's a new app out there for older women who are into younger men. It's called... Example 2. I'm the youngest of 5 children, so by the time I was born, my parents were so exhausted that... The goal of the setup is to get your audience invested in the joke and excited to hear the punchline. By using simple, relevant, and engaging setups, you'll be able to create a strong foundation for your jokes. How do you write setups? Well, you're just going to take your premise and you're going to start putting things that back up your ideas, your premise. Let's use an example of the premise of ice cream flavors are totally getting out of control. What are some of the things that we could talk about? Well, we could talk about how there are stores that only sell ice cream and they have 61 flavors or they have X number of flavors. There are places where you can decide to put in your own things. You can choose what goes into it. What kind of toppings are there? There's all sorts of weird toppings, places you could go with that. There are pre-made packages that you've heard of. There are ice creams about candy or cookies or whatever. Why did they decide to make this as an ice cream flavor? What if they made this candy bar an ice cream flavor? So there are all sorts of ways that you can start to do that. So just start playing around the ideas with your head. And we're going to go into writing a little bit further, but I just wanted to give you a brief idea of kind of where you can start to go with getting set up for your jokes. In our next episode, we're going to be discussing the punchline, so stay tuned.